Welcome into Steelers Latest, your daily spot for all news and information related to your Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm your host, Cole Denis, and please like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content to stay up to date with everything Steelers. Well, let's get rolling as Aaron Rodgers is looking to go one more round with the Bears, a rivalry or just a one-sided affair for all of Rodgers' career as he has dominated the Bears 24-5 in his 29 starts against the Bears. So safe to say Steelers would have an advantage with Rodgers playing, but is that actually true? With him having the wrist injury, does it limit his ability to go at all? With it being his non-dominant hand, with it being the left hand, he is a righty, so he still will be able to throw the ball well if he's out there. It really comes down to snapping, if receiving the snap from the center is pain inducing, if he can do that, has the grip on the ball when just holding it in the pocket. That's really where the questions come into play. Hey, can you really trust a 41-year-old with a broken wrist out there? I'd like to think for sure, especially with his career against the Bears. That weighs heavy on the mind. It makes you really want him to be out there when you play the Bears, especially when they're having a good season like they are right now, 7-3, number one in the NFC North, or number one in the AFC North. The Kings of the North are going at it. But would Mason Rudolph be a better option? 12 for 16 last week, more yards than Rodgers, had a touchdown also. Mason Rudolph isn't a bad backup. He's maybe one of the top 10, top five backups in the league right now. He has a lot of starting experience. He started for us, he started for the Titans. Having Mason Rudolph play isn't the worst idea. At least having him go out there to start the game isn't the worst idea. If he starts to struggle, then you could go to Rodgers, or you could reverse it. Rodgers goes out there to start. If he's struggling because of the injury, you could move to Rudolph. Now, does that hurt Rodgers' confidence or Rudolph's confidence? Honestly, doesn't really matter at this point in the season. If it hurts Rodgers' confidence, he's 41 years old. He's a future Hall of Famer. He can't let it get to him. We're trying to hold on to our AFC North title right now. We are on top. We're trying to fend off the Ravens. Those games are coming up. It's going to be big having him for those more important games down the line, conference play, divisional play. We want our starting quarterback for those games. It might not really be the most necessary to march him out there against the Bears for him to possibly just re-aggravate that hand. He's already going to be playing injured if he plays. You don't want it to get even worse for him, and then he has to go under the knife and get surgery and then be out for a longer period of time. Might just be best to rock with the backup in Rudolph because Rudolph has guided our sleigh many times and it works out many times. I think more often it has worked out in our favor than not having Mason Rudolph be the starter for the team. But let's move on. Talk about the best receiving weapon right now. Probably the biggest threat on the offensive side of the ball when it comes to the Steelers. Mount Washington, who went on the St. Brown podcast, admitted his 265 weight listed is a gross underestimate of how much Darnell weighs. He is 311 right now, and he moves like a wide receiver. He was hurdling people last week against the Bengals. This guy, freak of nature. The Steelers got to continue using him consistently on the offense. Get him the ball more, honestly. This guy isn't going to be brought down to the ground. He's a defensive tackle, offensive tackle, playing a tight end position right now. And he moves like one of the most athletic tight ends in the league, also at that size. It is crazy to see. He's 6'7, 311. I mean, it rhymes. That's how great this guy is. His weight and height rhyme. His rhythm on the field has a flow to it also. It is just amazing watching Darnell kind of blossom into that real threat that I thought he could have been heading into the season. I was really high on Darnell Washington and having a standout season. We thought about moving him to tackle. Rodgers, believing, kind of enticed the coaching staff and keeping him at tight end, and it has paid off well for the Steelers offense and will continue to pay off, especially when it comes down to these cold months at the end of the year, no one's going to want to be in front of that big man. Let's talk about Ramsey, though. Jalen Ramsey still could suffer a fine for his altercation with Jamar Chase. Is this fair? Of course, the NFL wants to always protect the shield. When a guy gets spit on, do we should we consider tossing out some of the rules? Not like he did anything crazy in retaliation. If you were to get spit on in real life, how would you react? Probably way more aggressive than even Jalen Ramsey reacted Sunday during the game. It was just a complete act of disrespect from Jamar Chase, who then went on to deny that he even did such a thing, and then who went on to appeal to the NFL to not be suspended, and they upheld the suspension. He's still getting fined over 500 grand. Jalen Ramsey could be also suffering a fine because of being ejected from the game and his multiple unsportsmanlike penalties that resulted in that ejection. It is just league rule that you get a fine for such things. But I'm really thinking in this scenario, you could possibly look past it because it is such a unique scenario. We saw it earlier in the year with Jalen Carter, but it didn't really cause much of an altercation. But this time, spit on the wrong player. Jalen Ramsey came after Chase, and now both of them are receiving the league penalties. And hopefully, the league can loosen up a little bit for Ramsey defending his honor really out there on the field. Let's start today's show, though, talking about this defense a little bit more because I really do think since the Kyle Duggar trade, since bringing him into the building, this defense has felt really different than it was through the first half of the season, up to that Packers game where we allowed 30 points in 4 games. Up to that point, since then, no 40 or 30-point games allowed to our opponents. Our defense has kept us in every game. I think 2 of them, we held teams to below 20 points. Now, we 20 points or less. The Colts scored 20. We beat them 27-20, but they scored a lot of their points in garbage time trying to make that game close at the end. The Bengals really never were in it. The defense against the Chargers were the only reason we were in that game for so long. The Chargers did pull away late in that one, but the defense really didn't have a poor performance in that one. I'm really thinking as these colder months continue, the defense has improved, and Belger has been a key reason for that in the secondary. The secondary has felt way different the past couple weeks, especially James Pierre, him filling in for Darius Slay. He's looked great. He did phenomenal last week. We held Chase to 3 receptions and 30 yards. We held the highest scoring offense in the 4 weeks prior to last week to only 12 points. This defense is really locking in now. I think Duggar has added a veteran mentality in the secondary, and he still lives up to the hype that he had when he was a younger player in this league. He has been balling out for us in the black and yellow, black and gold, however you want it to be. So I really do think this defense, if it can hold on to this pace of play and continue holding teams below a 25-point margin, we're going to win a lot of these games to close the year because I do think Rodgers can get us to 24 points a game. We've basically been there all season long. I don't expect that to start slipping unless this wrist injury is more severe than we thought or Rodgers really is regressing like he was in the Chargers game, it looks like. But I have high hopes that that is not the case and that this defense has improved. The offense is going to stay at the same level, and we're going to cruise on in to the playoffs. Hopefully, maybe just a little bit more bumps in the road, but hopefully not too much of a speed bump left for this team. The Ravens, really, it's going to come down to that. If we can beat the Ravens once, I think the division is ours, and I think the defense can do that for us. But that has been it from Steelers Latest. I've been your host, Cole Denis, and I'll see you tomorrow.